Now we can start. Welcome to Polish American Innovation Bridge. Today's session is dedicated to new technologies for the environment. We invited very special guests who will describe how technology could support environment. Normally, technology is connected with pollution, some bad things, but we would like to see what good things could come from the new technologies. Michał, the floor is yours.
Hello, I'm Michał Pajdak. Thank you so much for investing your time with us. I would like to introduce our panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alessandro Iacoponi, who is IoT Director, EU Tech Chamber. Hello. Piotr Nowak.
Morning, everybody.
Hello. Piotr Nowak, who is Senior Project and Commercialization Manager from Łukasiewicz Institute. And hello, Piotr. And
hello, everybody.
And Mateusz Bonecki, Chief Innovation Officer from DAC Digital.
Good morning, and thank you.
Good morning. Hello. My first question is to you. Maybe Mateusz, to you. We'll start with you. What is the impact of what you are doing on the environment?
Well, I think that my understanding is of the question is twofold. So firstly, the question is what the operations that my organization, my company, so IT company, we're developing software and hardware applications. What is the impact of what we are doing on environment in a sense that is our process optimal? Our production and software development is it sustainable? Are the technologies or hardware components we are using in our electronic devices, is it compliant with all the regulations? Is it environmentally friendly? So that is one thing. And the second thing is the applications we do, how they can influence how they are impacting, actually, how they are influencing the status or the quality of air, of water, are they pollution free, etc., etc. So in the first sense, I would say, well, we are trying to do as much as possible to make that our applications are energy efficient, that our data structures and algorithms require as low energy as possible. While on the other hand, we are developing solutions that in a sense of the applications can also contribute positively to what they're intended to do. So, for example, one of the first initiatives and software products that our company has developed was a transportation management system. Just from the top of my head, a transportation management system, which obviously provides such functionalities like, for example, route optimization or support for planning of the transportation of transport operations. So in result, with this software, actually our customers are able to reduce the number, the overall amount or distance that the fleet and trucks and other vehicles they have in their fleet, they're operating, they're traveling. So when distance is reduced, is obviously the direct translate not only to the reduction of costs of the overall logistics performance, but also significantly to the CO2 emission reduction. Therefore, this is always a situation when we are trying to find a win-win solution, so that there is a benefit for our customers, save money, save fuel, save time, save workload, reduce workload. But on the other hand, it has to be the other win, so the value of environmental or societal significance, like for example CO2 or GHG emission reduction.
Fantastic.
Quick.
Thank you for this quick answer, Alessandro. And what is the impact of what you are doing on the environment?
As the European Technology Chamber, we are, if you want, a community of companies, of technology companies, and basically what that means. And we have a principle. We share a principle with all our partners, which is technology obliges, and with great technology comes great responsibilities. So we don't, as a chamber, as the European Technology Chamber, we don't actually produce technology. But we have this, if you want to take trademark, technology obliges, and all our partners have share the same principle. So that means that what we do with our partners is, because we take with us great responsibilities, and sustainability is our first target, is our first goal. And so for the developing technology for the environment and so on, that's why we promote all our events, digital events, webinar, all our articles, what we produce in terms of knowledge. It's all for sustainability, for the environment, for the developing of technology solutions that are helping the environment. So that's really, I think, we contribute a lot on this respect, because we organize many different technology companies in this area.
Okay, fantastic. And Piotr? Peter?
I'm representing a research network, and this is the biggest network, research network in Poland. Our Institute of Logistics and Warehousing is a part of it, but we are working in different science areas. And for us, the most important one is, of course, logistics and IT. But usually we work in triangle: software, hardware, applications, and also processes behind them. So what we are trying to do in our projects is to connect, for example, identification technologies with good working software, and behind that, optimized processes. So this is what we can contribute to different areas. So for example, for the smart packaging, but also we are working for green warehouses, for optimization of the working of warehouses to be more ecological friendly. We also optimize distribution networks using technologies which we think will help to reduce CO2, and also by reorganization of process we can achieve such a result, like the reducing of empty loads in trucks. So we are seeing it, and this is what is one part of our activities. We work also on city logistics processes and solutions, and here we see also a lot of improvements we can apply in urban environments. So these are the areas we work in there.
Okay, thank you, Piotr. Many of the technologies we use every day consume a lot more resources and power than we need to, and using and manufacturing them can create mass. And that's the question to you. Do you believe that the use of the technology can have a positive impact on the environment? Will technology help us save our planet in the future? How do you think? Alessandro?
Yes, that's a good question. And to be honest, I think the opposite, to be honest. So I think the development of technology and the use of new technology is actually helping far more the environment compared to destroying it. I'll give you some examples. Okay, for example, everybody says, okay, Google or our digital platforms are consuming a lot of energy. Yeah, the server farms are consuming a lot of energy. That's true, but are we actually comparing the energy that we, for example, consume for an air trip, for using our car to move to offices instead of having of being connected from our home, or reducing the number of trips by car, by airplane, and so on, because we can connect through technology? So are we actually doing this kind of comparison, for example? So yes, it is true. Our web farms, digital platforms, our meeting today is consuming energy, definitely. But we connect thanks to technology, and if we had to connect physically, we had probably consumed a lot more energy, to achieve the same results. So that's what I think. And developing new technology is always going in the direction of looking for efficiencies. That's another thing. So when I design a new car, so now we all think about electric cars. Electric cars, okay, everybody says, okay, battery has metals inside, and definitely, but an electric car is definitely consuming or emitting less CO2 compared to a combustion engine. And even if we take in account countries that produce energy through coal, still positive. But the more contribution of renewable energies to the electricity, the better will be the emission of CO2 from electric cars. So again, technology is helping the environment in two ways. One is developing new cars, electric cars. The second one, developing renewable resources. Because renewable resources, for example, everybody would like to use renewable resources, of course, but they are not cheap. With technology and technology developments, the price and the cost of renewable resources is decreasing. It's decreasing by year. So, and year on year, it's becoming cheaper and cheaper and more competitive compared to other kind of non-renewable resources. And again, it's technology. Okay. So that I don't know if I explained to you what is my view about technology and in the environment.
Yes, exactly. And Mateusz, do you believe that the use of technology can have positive impact on the environment?
Well, I'm optimistic, or at least being a co-founder of a technological company, doing business in software and IT industry. Well, I'm not waking up with this strong feeling or a guilty conscience that what I'm doing is bad, actually, or bad for the environment. So I think I wouldn't be there running the business I do if it was the other way around. So that in general, but technically, we need to be quite concise and precise and accurate when we are betting on certain ideas and certain business models and certain products that they are environmentally friendly. Some time ago, when I was still involved in academic practice, let's say, in parallel to my second hat, which is business, I was taking part in I was involved in a course where there was an opportunity to discuss with students the so-called digital business models in the circular economy. And what we were trying to investigate, we took a sheet of paper, a page of from one of the handbooks to the circular economy, and we had a look at the table where different digital business models for environmentally friendly industry were explained. And there was one among them. We found a business model of the so-called music as a service or music streaming platforms. And the author of the chapter in the handbook presented very, very carefully and explained very, very quickly why this is a environmentally friendly business model. And I asked my colleagues, my students, okay, guys and girls, what does it actually mean? Let's have a look. Let's open the Google Scholar. We've typed in the name of the streaming platform and I suggested, okay, and then type in life cycle analysis, product environmental footprint, and a list of new very, very recent studies appeared. And when we started to dig in, within the 15 minutes of a brief research, we found out that the streaming platforms have not reduced the quantity and the volume of the plastic used and vinyl and PCV used, PCV used for the production of the traditional media to transport music. But on the other hand, on top of that, they have also produced a quite huge quite huge consumption or quite huge amount of CO2 because, well, the business is going to the data centers located all around the world, etc., etc. I'm not saying that's bad because, in general, I absolutely agree with Alessandro that there are opportunities. There are opportunities that we can optimize things and do them better and clever. But indeed, we need to pay attention if that is really happening, because that particular case shows that certain business models that, well, look very, very obvious in that sense that they are environmentally friendly doesn't have to be at the first glance. And therefore, my company was actively taking part in the working group. So here go by greetings to my partner Damian Derevetsky, who represented our company in the working group at the European Commission that were providing the expertise and suggestions and recommendations how to estimate and how to assess the product environmental footprint, because sometimes in the complete life cycle, when we approach the problem within the methodology of a life cycle analysis, it might turn out that something that's at the first glance sustainable in the long run doesn't have to be. So we need to pay attention. We need to apply the methodologies. We need to be very careful, and we need to exchange information so that we understand how the process and how the value chain looks like before some technologies will turn out in the long run, well, they will not sustainable after all.
Thank you very much. Piotr, do you believe that the use of technology can have a positive impact on the environment?
It could, I believe, but not technology alone. We should see it in this triangle I mentioned before. So technology, but behind it we have the processes. We need to analyze them and to use the technology according to what we can do the best optimizing these processes, and also software, which is the third part. There is a potential to use the technology in a more efficient way, using.
So Piotr, what new technologies we are talking about? For example,
we are developing now the kind of new package, intelligent package for e-commerce industry. So in this case, we have technology. We are trying to use new materials, IoT sensors in it, so it will be intelligent and will deliver more information. We are trying to understand the processes behind the package flow in the supply chain, and together with the technology and with the knowledge about the processes, we are trying to optimize software we are producing. So this is the triangle. This is the product, this is the software, and this is a process we are trying to understand.
What is the impact on the environment of this solution?
It is reusable, and it will be used again and again in the process. So impact is very huge, because now we have a lot of papers after Christmas holidays. Everybody is struggling with a mountain of packages and fillers. So in case we will be succeed in our work, it will be a huge impact. Of course, it's in the progress, but it's promising to have such a solution introduced into the market.
Okay, thank you, Alessandro. What new technologies we are talking about? What new technologies will help us protect the environment and save the planet?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I mean, I work a lot with the Internet of Things, with the IoT, and I am the director of the IoT Council of the European Technology Chamber. And within our members, we explore a lot of different kind of technologies, still maybe focused on the IoT, but I can give you, for example, let's talk about 5G networks. Yeah, now we are developing 5G technologies will allow us to develop mesh networks. Some of our members are developing mesh network using 5G technologies. That means objects will be able to communicate directly naturally with other objects and creating a network, and a private and independent network, not going through the network operators, but object to object. Yeah, object to object that will connect using 5G technology. And because you have a series of objects all together connected, then you will have a very robust and powerful network, independent. And think about cars that are talking to each other. Think about cars that are talking to traffic lights and to street lights, and then exchanging information about the traffic. Think about, how we will be able to improve. I'm just talking about traffic. We're able to improve the efficiency. And again, here we come back to the environment, because if I have a better flow, a better organized traffic, maybe I will use less cars, I will use less time, and then I will have a reduced use of energy, to move people around. And also public transportation can take advantage of this as well. Think about now our cities are all full of bike sharing, for example, e-scooter sharing, and so on. And that's very basic, simple IoT technology that is transforming a simple bicycle, just a simple bicycle, which has been around for a century, into a modern mobility solution for smart cities, only because I have connected my bicycle on the internet using Internet of Things technology. And then I can allow bike sharing, e-scooter sharing, car sharing, which is reducing the impact in the environment greatly, the efficiency of my transportation, and so on. In my opinion, that's just the beginning. We've just started to scratch the surface of new technology, and what we will be able to expect, what we will expect will be very, very important, large transformation. And I'm only talking about IoT in this case, not everything, but just IoT. We will see a lot of transformation in the future.
Yeah, that's my question, Alessandro. What can we expect in the future? What is ahead? What technologies of tomorrow may come? Maybe you can see some disruptive technologies.
As I told you, having objects that can naturally connect and talk to each other. Yeah. So you have an object and naturally has already an IP address, and this naturally connect to the internet, and then you'll be able to exchange information with that object. So you can get a lot of smart, intelligent objects, and you will be able to make it a lot more efficient. You will be more efficient. You can produce more, feel more productive, and definitely will use less energy to achieve the same target.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's just one example. That's just one example. Then we can
which is actually let's say a foundation. I would say that what Alessandro just said is just a foundation, because my example, if I might reply to what just Alessandro said, my example is very, very directly connected to the technology, or the foundational technology, 5G, or the IoT concept that we can also develop using 5G technology. So in general, my understanding is it's not a great revelation or revolution in science. It's a physics, I guess, that when you are moving something from point A to point B, it needs energy, and the energy produces pollution unless we have 100% green energy at hand. So, which is not the case today, and as far as I know, in Poland also. Therefore, if we want to make our processes more efficient, we need to, for example, the good thing is to move us. Well, the less things we move from point A to point B, the better. And it applies both to traditional logistics, let's say physical logistics networks, like also to those digital communication networks, like internet, for example. And my understanding, what is the next game changer or a technology or paradigm that can change a lot in terms of energy consumption and pollution emission, pollutants emission. It's the so-called edge computing or the fog computing. So moving the processing of information and data closer to the source when they originate. Yeah. So instead of, I don't know, having a sensor deployed in one city and a data center to 10,000 kilometers from there, and whatever the data the sensor produces, they are all sent to the data center and stored in an expensive hard drive clusters, etc., and produce and perform process on the very complex and well, not that energy efficient computing platforms, server farms, using a lot of energy and cooling, also for cooling and etc., etc. This is something we need to, we can constrain, and we can be more optimal when we're using that. So, for example, in the essence, the concept of edge computing says you don't need to send to the data center far from here everything that you have observed in a local situation, in a local context. You don't have to store everything, because most of that is rubbish or redundant data or low quality data you don't need in order to perform your task. And you don't have to use so much or so wide broad band connections and use a lot of the bandwidth to send them, because this is also expensive and energy consuming, therefore also generates some form of pollution. And this is exactly what we are recommending right now to software development. Please be focused on the edge applications, do things, perform things locally, because you are winning time, you're closer to the user, you can provide real-time guarantees in certain
cases. Save energy, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And this is exactly what we've also advising for years to traditional networks, logistics networks, guys, friends, producers, manufacturers. You don't need to take those tomatoes and bring them to point A, from point B, from point A. If that's 10,000 kilometers, you don't have to have that tomato. You can get a beetroot. Meanwhile, for example, yeah. Therefore, this is something that's we are in traditional ecological thinking. We've been recommending focus on the local supply chains, the information. And the tomatoes don't have to travel around the world, so that everyone can see how they look like and taste like in the middle of the winter. Okay,
exactly. Piotr Barczak asked
data.
Yeah, thank you, Piotr Barczak on chat. Please ask more questions. Piotr Barczak asked the fundamental question, probably to Alessandro. The question is: the current not connected bicycles are not efficient. So the question is, what I think, if we really need technology to connect everything with everything, do we need it, or we just can leave it as it is? Maybe just having bicycles are enough. Maybe we don't need to connect the bicycles to another bicycles and to the data centers. How do you think, Alessandro?
I mean, okay, it's in 10 people, you have 10 bicycles. Everyone is the owner of its own bicycle, fine. And it was like that until a few years ago. Now I live in a large city. I live in Milan, in Italy, and I don't actually need to own a bicycle. I don't have a bicycle in Milan, but I do use a lot of bicycles because they are available on sharing. Electric bicycle, normal bicycles, e-scooters. I don't have anything of that, but I can use it, and I use it every day. Do you see the difference?
Yeah. So
the difference is enormous. Yeah.
Okay, so we can reduce amount of bicycles. Yes.
Absolutely, and the energy to construct them, and it will be a lot more efficient to use. Think about self-driving cars. Now I want to go very far. IoT in bicycle is very basic, simple technology. Yeah, self-driving cars, it's the opposite. It's very accurate, very difficult technology, a lot of sensors, it's costly, and so on. Think about I don't have to own my own car, because I just on my mobile phone call for a car, self-driving. I jump on it, I go where I need to go, and then I leave it, and then anybody else can use it. And then when I have to come back, I call another car. So I don't have to possess, I don't have to own.
Okay, so we don't need possess, we don't need to produce, we don't need to store. Yes, we don't need to repair.
Think about the traffic accidents, the fact that if you have self-driving cars, they are a lot more secure.
And on the other hand, efficient use of infrastructure, because when we have these autonomous vehicles interconnected, we can use these roads in very efficient way, and energy efficient as well. So this is the future of transportation.
Reduce the number of accidents. Exactly. It will be safer. How much? Having less accidents is how much does it cost an accident to the country in terms of hospitals? Yeah, in terms of people injured. It's enormous. So the use of this kind of technology has an enormous impact.
Exactly.
On our daily life.
Piotr, the question to you: what we can expect in the future? What is ahead? Maybe you can see some disruptive technologies of the future. You are close to the business. You are close to the science as well. So, what can we expect in between?
I think the future is optimizing efficiency by IoT in different branches. We are talking now about vehicles on the roads, but we have also optimization in warehouses and in all logistic processes. Also modularity and standardization behind the packages and technology supporting it. It's very important. Automation is also in a sense way to make warehouses more green and energy effective. Also a substitute for rare resources. We are looking for such a way to substitute these rare resources, rare metals, for example, in batteries. So this is also something what can be disruptive in the future. And what I see as a chance is not on a new technology, but a way we can use this technology. Because now we have a trend to produce next generation of products, especially when we are talking about consumer goods. Think will last only 3 years, and then we buy another one, the new model. So we should assure new technologies, but also another way of consumption of it. So I see the chance in the middle between development of the technology and responsible use of it.
Yes, maybe, guys, you can see some more disruptive technologies around you. What we can expect? Maybe something else. Maybe there are some new technologies.
If that's fine, I'll get back maybe to the thing that was just addressed. I see that the question of the whether this is about it's about cars or car sharing platforms, bike sharing platforms, or flat sharing platforms like BRB solutions. Again, there we need to be very, very critical and perceive and observe the situation, how it goes, how it produces, how it develops in a very, very aware and open-minded way, so that we don't lose important things that are similar to each other. So, for example, the car sharing and bike sharing and car sharing might be similar. If their impact is the same, I don't know. Yeah, if that is the same solution. So I can imagine that in the case of car sharing platforms, the good thing is that we have less cars on the streets. Yeah, that is the good thing, because we don't need to invest again in building another parking lot, in pouring another tons of volumes of tons and tons of concrete onto our grasslands. Yeah, so that we can produce another space where we can leave our car and stay there for 8 hours we are at work, and then for another 12 hours when we are at home. Yeah, so that in general, car is something that is supposed to stay in some place for like 20 hours per day. That's more or less what we do. So if the technology, if connected cars, if algorithms to organize and schedule and optimize traffic are helping us out to leave that aside, to reduce the absurd situation like that, yeah, that's fine. Let's do that. This is definitely something we should do. But if the connectivity and of course and the Internet of Things as such in itself is not a solution to any problem. Yeah, it won't bring sustainability as a feature to anything that it will be attached to. Yeah, so I can, for example, imagine that my shoes can be connected. Yeah, might be connected, and can, I don't know, update the manufacturer of what is the status and so on, and so on, and the data can be kept in some data center. I can even have a digital twin of my pair of shoes, but does it bring much value? Let's ask ourselves this question. Yeah, if not, consider that as a sexy feature. Yeah, something really, really nice and interesting and fancy. Maybe good to run another advertising campaign on internet, but does really brings significant value? That's the other question. Maybe we should just focus on using, I don't know, very good quality materials and good quality techniques, so that my shoes will last for more than one season, and that will be good enough. Yes, so that we will advance in that regard.
Thank you. And Alessandro, do you see some disruptive technologies around us? Maybe something in the future that can really...
Yeah, I like the connected shoes, actually. Yeah. Connected shoes. I think, apart from that, to be honest,
digital twin of shoes. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Running shoes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that you can have medical devices. I mean, for example, people need to exercise. Yeah, they need to exercise in the proper way. What about having smart shoes that tell you how to exercise, and then tells you about maybe defects and how to improve your exercise? And then it's that good or bad technology. I think it's very good technology. Think about, again, going to 5G, or maybe in 10 years from now, 6G networks. Yeah, and you will be able to connect doctors, therapists, with medical devices in every part of the globe at very, very small delay. So you can take advantage of that, because you can cure people independently of the position where they are. And maybe you can also cure a lot more people because of that, because of the technology, because you can actually talk to your doctor using a video conference, and the doctor can take advantage of medical devices connected, and without you to go to visit the doctor, but you can do that online. To be honest, it's very difficult to predict, because a lot of technology we saw in the past did not work. Yeah, and then disappear. Think about the 3D videos, 3D films. Yeah, everybody was talking about the 3Ds. Then we had the glasses for the 3D. Yeah, now it's gone, because it wasn't really useful. It wasn't interesting. And so there's a lot of technology that is dying because it's no good. And sometimes it appears new things, new ideas, new uses that are winning. But it's difficult to predict.
Piotr Barczak on chat is asking a question. Thank you for this question, Piotr. He's asking a question if digitalization is always necessary. And let's not forget that collecting and storing data also costs resources and energy. And this also creates e-waste. Yeah, so that's the probably potential for new technology. What to do with e-waste? Yeah, what to do with this data centers that is
the question for who?
No, it's not the question. It's just that's a comment from Peter Barczak. But my question, the last question, is to Piotr. Piotr, how we can create a market for environmentally friendly solutions? How to support startups in the area of environmentally supportive technologies? What to do? Who is responsible for that?
I think there is a place for government and for regulations, because, of course, we all believe in free market, but we need incentives and we need somehow enforcement for different behaviors. So in case, for example, of these products which are not very good quality, and after 5 years you need to buy another one, there should be kind of regulation where we can check the quality of the product, and it should be under control. On the other hand, we need, of course, incentives for startups, additional funding for looking for new technologies which are environmental friendly. So enforcement, incentives, and funding. And I see a lot of work and a lot of chances on the side of regulations and government to increase such environmental friendly behaviors.
Okay, Alessandro, the same question to you. How to create a market for friendly solutions and how to support startups?
The question, most of the time, you can create a market through legislation. European Union can do a lot of work on that because they give the direction. Yeah, they give the standards and they give the direction. So deleggislation, in my opinion, is the best way to create new markets, new products, new development areas, and so on. So we want to improve the environment. We have to improve the environment. We have to reduce the CO2 emissions. So create the correct legislation where companies are obliged or incentivized, if you want, to develop technologies in that direction. And not so otherwise everybody's going in different direction, everybody's creating its own things, and it will be a lot more costly and less efficient. But if you give the direction, so you say cars must reduce the CO2 emission by such and such, yeah, and so you create new technology that you have cars that have reduced CO2 emission. So, for example, electric cars, yeah, and this is happening. This is happening because they have targets of CO2 emission for the fleets. Yeah. Otherwise, they won't do it. Nobody will do it because it's cost. It costs money to produce new technology, to develop new technology. So that's, in my opinion, that's the right direction for creating new markets. Yeah.
Okay. And Mateusz?
Having the European Union and legislation that support that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Mateusz?
I think that the role of the government is something that we cannot underestimate and forget, because the initiative or the responsibility to care about the environment we live in, the planet, where we're inhabiting, this is something definitely that is in our best interest, but the platform to unify and give us one uniform voice for all these varying interests is always some kind of institutionalization or simply getting together and creating structures such as like states, governments, or federations or unions and stuff. So the role of the government, especially at some macro regional level, like Europe, pan-European, pan-American, etc. This is always a very important thing. But on the other hand, this is always a problem, a global problem. This is always a global problem. So the plastic is a global problem, and we live in a definitely globalized world, and the problems of ecology are the first where we can experience that. So if we are right now talking about the giving incentives or compensating certain decisions, this is something that we really need to be very aware of the fact, because I can imagine that, for example, like in the photonics industry, certain compounds and certain substances and materials we've been using in photonics industry so far will be, for example, denied or would be considered as the use of them in development of sensors and new devices will be considered as something that is not compliant, will be against the regulations, will be violating certain laws. And the question is, at which or what level? Because if this is only a certain regulation that is prohibiting business in one region to abandon certain business model or a technology or a manufacturing processes that we have set up, that we have invested in, that we put a lot of money into R&D to have them at hand, and then manufacture, produce, develop, offer services to our customers. And now, because of some regulations, we cannot do that anymore. But in some other part of the world, the globalized world, breathing one air in general, these new regulations are not inhibiting or prohibiting someone from providing services as usual basis, and therefore it's not forcing to invest or adjust the processes. So count some expenditure in again, and count some loss again in our budget. This is something that makes without incentives, without compensation mechanisms, without subsidies or incentives in R&D that will leverage the risk that we need to jump on some other technologies. This is something that can be environmentally friendly, can have positive impact, but it doesn't have to be much positive in the sense of the direct competition.
Okay, thank you.
I understand, that in the long run, these incentives and that we are forced to invest in R&D can bring new innovations. But this is let's remember always in high-tech business. This is always high risk decision. Therefore, without incentive subsidies, I believe this is something can render our business in a local sense less competitive, at least in the long run.
Okay, thank you. So future is optimistic. There's a lot of things to do. The new technology will come for sure, and I hope during this short discussion we discussed a lot about how technology will save our planet. I hope. Thank you very much. Time is over. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Alessandro Iacoponi from EU Tech. Thank you, Piotr Nowak from ILIM. Thank you, Mateusz Bonecki from DAC Digital. Thank you for spending time with us.
It was a pleasure.
Bye.
And thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
So much.